our institution's senior woman administrator, which is a really antiquated term for I am a female in our executive team. I'm the champion for our women's sports. I supervise directly women's basketball, women's soccer, and women's lacrosse. So basically, I'm the boss for those head coaches and make sure they stay in budget. Travel with those teams, hang out with them a lot. So that's what I do every day. I'm going to focus for you guys today on Eligibility Center specifics. I didn't bother with the slide because it's a million pages long. You're going to have to go look it up anyway because you're not going to remember all of this stuff. But I'll give you the quick and dirty sort of Eligibility Center speech. Who here is registered for the Eligibility Center? Not many. How many juniors and seniors we got in the room? Okay. Is everybody else a freshman, sophomore? So that helps me tailor. This is better for freshmen and sophomores, actually. So this is all coming from Division I. If you are eligible in Division I, you will be eligible in Division II, and you will be eligible in Division III and NAIA. Division I is the hardest one to do. Okay? So the most recent change for eligibility is that before, when I was an athlete, you could tank your freshman and sophomore year, you could tank your junior year, and just cram and do really well and be okay. Now the NCAA wants to see your progression, and they want you to take those freshman, sophomore years seriously. So to be an NCAA qualifier, you need 16 core courses. Okay, a core course, it's a real class. That's what I like to call a real class. A core course: English, math, science, a foreign language, philosophy, your hard classes. Examples of a non-core course: art, band, music, religion, a lot of times, even though that one's really hard to me. Ceramics, PE, weightlifting, all of that stuff that takes up your time, the NCAA doesn't really care about. Okay? When I talk GPA, I'm talking about core course GPA. So it's that GPA in those real classes. Okay? So you need 16 core courses. Of those 16, 4 need to be English, 3 need to be math, 2 need to be science. One of those 2 needs to include a lab. Then you need 1 out of all of the above, an additional 1. Pick 1, English, math, science. 2 social science, so those are your histories. And then 4 additional. Pick whatever you want. Those additional ones are typically going to be your foreign languages, because typically those are the ones you can do well in, and you have to take a lot of those to get a high school diploma. New as of August 1 of 16, 10 of those 16 core courses are locked in by the end of your junior year. Okay? So you can't change the grade in those. You are stuck with them. If you got a D in English 1, we're counting that 1 quality point as that D in English 1. So 10 are locked in. 7 of those 10 have to be English, math, and science. So, traditionally, students do a lot better in foreign language, maybe a social science, a history. They want to see 7 out of 10 be English, math, science. So it's real class. Okay? So those are core courses. Very quick and dirty. If you are curious what your core courses are at your specific institution, you can always go see your guidance counselor. They'll have a handy-dandy list for you. The other thing you can look up is Eligibility Center High School Portal. If you just Google Eligibility Center High School Portal, that's open to the public. So you don't need to pay to register for the Eligibility Center if you're just trying to plan stuff out. You can go search High School Portal, and there's a tab for resources. You could type in your high school's name, even just a list of high schools. Maybe you're thinking of transferring. And you can get a list of what is considered a core course. Sometimes it'll sound like a real class, and the NCAA has deemed it not a core course. So look those up. At the end of the day, make sure you're taking a good number of real classes and getting decent grades in those real classes. I know it's tempting, and it can be difficult as an athlete. I'm assuming PE is a class or athletics is a class, so that's eating up one of your periods. You know, we certainly don't want to discourage you from taking art or serving in student government or being in the band, but that's going to take another class. So you have 4 or 5 periods left, and you have 6 semesters to get 10 core courses in. So just think of that when you are, when you're scheduling your classes. What else? Okay, so SAT, ACT. This is where it gets super confusing. But it may not help, it may not be as confusing if you guys are freshmen and sophomores. For the juniors and seniors in the room, okay, the NCAA uses a sliding scale. So if I have this GPA, then I need this test score. If I have a 2.5 core GPA, I need an 820 on my SATs. The SAT is a combined reading, am I saying, where's my SAT go? Reading, writing, and math. I always said verbal. It's verbal in my day. Verbal and math. Reading, writing, math. They will use your best scores. So if you get a 500 the first time you take it, and then you get a 1200 on the same part the next time, they'll use your best parts. They can mix and match from each time you take the test. So if you do really poorly on the math part your first time, but you did great on the other section, and vice versa, they'll pick and choose. So long as you're taking the new test both times, which everybody in this room will be taking the new test. The interesting part for our juniors and seniors is that sliding scale, and if you look it up on eligibilitycenter.org, the SAT went and changed the SAT. Colleges and the NCAA have not caught up yet. So that sliding scale, when I say I have a 2.5 and I need an 820, that's on the old SAT. They're going to use SAT concordance tables to translate that into a new SAT score. So that's super confusing. So aim higher. That's all I can tell you to do. So if you're looking at the thing, I'll tell you if you have a 2.5 GPA, you really need a 900. Okay, it says 820, you're really going to need a 900 for the next 2 years until we catch up as an organization and make new ones. For our freshmen and sophomores, we will have those new tables for you by the time you are a junior and senior. Look them up and know what you have to hit. Okay? You can take the ACT or SAT. The sliding scales will have